All right, we are about to dive into one of the biggest, oldest questions humanity has ever asked, the problem of evil. And we're going to explore it through this really powerful, imagined dialogue. Think of it as a cosmic debate between humanity and a creator, unpacking all the classic arguments about free will, suffering, and some kind of divine plan.
And this is the question at the heart of it all. It's a question that has kept thinkers and philosophers up at night for centuries. I mean, the logic seems pretty solid, right? An all-good creator would want to get rid of evil, and an all-powerful one could do it in a heartbeat. So why is it still here? This is the fundamental paradox we're going to try to unpack today.
So our debate kicks off with a direct and really powerful accusation, one that questions the entire blueprint of creation itself.
Now this is the opening shot, and it is a sharp one. It's basically asking, if you're a perfect creator, why would you build a world that has this kind of flaw baked into it? Why design beings who are even capable of doing wrong in the first place? You know, the answer to this question really sets the stage for everything that follows.
And here you can see the two sides of the argument laid out, clear as day. On one side, you have humanity's perspective, we're calling it Adam's view, which says, hey, a perfect creator should have made a perfect, safe world. Simple as that. But on the other side, you've got the creator's defense, that a truly good world requires not flawless perfection, but genuine freedom. This is the fundamental trade-off that the whole debate really hinges on.
And this leads us right into the creator's first big defense, which presents freedom itself as a kind of paradox, a precious gift that, by its very nature, has to allow for the possibility of pain.
And if you think about it, this makes a lot of sense. Love that's forced isn't really love, is it? You know, a robot that's programmed to say I love you is just running its code. The argument here is that for something like goodness or love to be meaningful, the choice to do the opposite has to exist. Real connection requires real freedom, even if that freedom comes with a really terrible risk.
But here comes the counterargument, and it exposes what feels like a major contradiction. If we're truly free to choose, then why does one of those choices lead to punishment? You know, it starts to feel less like freedom and more like a test, where you get penalized for picking the wrong answer.
So the response to this is to completely reframe the idea. The argument is that it's not about an external punishment, like a judge handing down a sentence. Instead, it's presented as just a natural consequence. So, if the creator is the sun, the source of all light and warmth, then choosing to walk away into the shadows isn't a punishment. It's just the inevitable, natural result of making that choice.
Okay, but this raises another huge question. If the creator is all good and didn't make evil, well, where did it come from? How can something exist that wasn't part of the original good design?
Now here's where the dialogue gets really philosophical and precise. It argues that evil isn't a thing. It wasn't created like a rock or a tree. Instead, it's defined as a corruption of good, a twisting of something that was originally right. It's more like an absence, a void, that's only defined by the good that it's missing.
And here's the classic analogy that makes this whole concept much easier to wrap your head around. You don't create darkness, right? You just turn off the light. In the same way, this argument says you don't create evil. You just turn away from the good.
And now the argument takes a turn. It moves away from these abstract ideas and gets into something much more raw and personal, an existential complaint about what it means to even be alive.
I mean, wow, this is just such a raw and powerful protest, isn't it? It's the voice of anyone who has ever felt totally crushed by the weight of existence and just thought, I never asked for any of this. The argument is devastatingly simple. How can you call something a gift if the person who received it never wanted it and actually finds it to be a burden?
So here are those two starkly different views. From Adam's perspective, life is this unasked-for burden, just filled with consequences you never signed up for. But on the other side is this idea that existence itself is a gift, that by definition you couldn't have requested beforehand. And in this view, free will isn't some kind of trap, it's the ultimate mark of dignity. It's the very thing that allows us to love, to create, and even to have this debate in the first place.
All right, so we're at the final part of this cosmic debate, which tries to weave all of these threads together, perfection, freedom, suffering, into one single overarching design, the ultimate plan for redemption.
So the final argument kind of unfolds in 4 steps. First, a perfect creator made a good world. Second, that goodness had to include the dignity of true freedom. Third, that freedom, well, it allowed for the possibility of turning away from good. And finally, here's the big finish. that this choice was foreseen and a path to redemption was actually built into the plan from the very beginning.
So in the end, this whole debate doesn't just hand you a simple, neat answer. Instead, it leaves us with a profound choice. The question is no longer just, why does evil exist? It's become something bigger. Is a world that contains real freedom, real suffering, and the possibility of redemption ultimately better than a perfect, sterile world with no freedom at all? The final answer? Well, that's left for you to decide.